Yo, what's up? What's up? How you doing? From wherever you are catching us from, Luzay Andrew Anderson is my name. Super excited, of course, to be here. I want to start by saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It doesn't matter where you are watching in from. I want to first check and I see if our live is clean. Today we came in a little bit late. I had a long day today. I drove my bike for I think for the longest. Yeah, I went up to town. Yeah, I went up to town. I wanted to bring something, and I'm going to show you. We have a surprise for you. We got a new member in the family. Yeah, we got a new member in the family. So I'm going to be introducing you to him. Yeah. I'm going to be introducing him to you guys. Super excited. So that's why during daytime we didn't do any live, neither did we do any upload. The entire day we didn't do nothing. So as I'm working, I want to see my other computer is on. So we have a new member in our family. Super excited. Let me get this one here a little bit. We got a new member in our family. Super excited. Of course, I love dogs. For the people who have been following, I love dogs so much. Yeah. So we had like six of them. Of course, we lost some of them. Now we got another one today, and this one I really love. I want to monitor myself, so I'm trying to check on this other computer to see that we are having a good picture. I came in a little bit late. Yeah, I know I came in late. Of course, time check. It is 11:38. You can imagine. So just a couple of minutes to go to midnight. But no worries. It's all fine. As long as we do at least we upload a video a day or we do one live stream, it's always very fine. It's supposed to be 1 hour, but now we are going to do a couple of minutes because I always don't want to go past midnight. Yeah, for some reasons I always don't want to go past midnight. So I'm going to be showing you our new member. Yeah, who joined us. Let me first see if our sound is nice and beautiful. Uh-huh. Yes, our sound is lovely. Our sound is lovely. So this is our new member. Yeah, you see him. He has just come through. You see him. Yeah, this is the new member I was telling you about. He's having white and gray. Yeah, so tomorrow I think he will be going in for a shower. So this is the new member we have gotten through. You see him? You say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Yeah, so Tyler likes this one, and we've named him Cece. Yeah, so this one is called Cece. So Cece is our new member. He has just joined our family. Yeah, you see him? 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 You say hello, hello. You say hello. Yeah, so this is our new member. So he has just come through. I had to ride my bike, I think for the first time, the longest. I went up to town, and it was a little bit scary because I just learned how to ride a bike. So I had to go. We get him. He's a little bit dirty, but we are going to wash him. Of course, I want to thank my sister Winnie. Yeah, Winnie. That is the Matovu family. They're the ones who gave us this one. I've always wanted a white dog with a little bit of gray. So you see him. Mm, very heavy. He's eaten. When we came, we got him some nice food. Yeah. So, Titi, you be there. So Titi is sitting here with me. Yeah, he's seated here. So now, today, starting over, most of the people fear to start over or fear to start. Those humble beginnings are always very scary. So most of the people always don't want to give it a try, to try out for the first time. For all, I think something we can all relate to. I know everyone who is watching here, you are at the age where you're supposed to be giving birth, yeah? Me, when I got my first kid, it was very scary. Everything in life, by the way, if you're doing it for the first time, it's always very scary. Yeah. So most of the people fear if you're going to school in boarding section and you're going for the first time, it is always very scary because doing something new that you've never done is always very hard. When you think about it, imagine you're going, let me say, to a new country. It is always very scary. Doing something, doing anything, but when you're doing it for the first time, it is always very scary. So me, I learned how to start over. For the people who have been following, I've always kept telling you that I've started over 5 times. Now, this is my 5th time when I'm starting over, starting again. So most of the people fear, those new starts. So when I was moving in here, it was very scary because I had never been to a place, where I know my sisters are not near, my friends are not near. So coming to this place for the first time, it was really very scary. So one thing you have to know is, let me get this picture here. I want to get that picture, of course, the thumbnail that we use, so that for the people who just keep joining, they will know basically what we are talking about. So most of the people fear that new start or starting afresh. And you forget that if you don't start, you can never discover how something is going to be working out. So you have to start over. All of us, the thing that we fear the most is starting over or doing something for the first time. It is always very scary. How to start again. Yeah, that is our topic. The reason why I put that dog there is because we got a new member in our family who is just seated here. He's just seated here. Yeah. So starting over and starting afresh is always very scary. But this is the thing. When you lose that fear, it means basically nothing can really scare you, because if you're like, I'm going to go to a new country, and you're like, whatever happens, let me just go. I have a friend, I think I've kept talking about him. He's I think in Australia right now. He went to Dubai when none of his family members has ever traveled, but he went to Dubai for the first time. He didn't know anyone there. It was his first time to go there. After staying there for some time, he stayed there for a couple of years, like 5 years. Then he left Dubai, went to Australia. Still again, he didn't know anyone. So one thing I noticed with such kind of people, if someone doesn't get scared of new beginnings, of starting afresh, such kind of people, nothing can always intimidate them in life, because they know I can always start over. Yeah, I can always start over. So if you have that fear in you of starting over, let me tell you, you will achieve nothing in life. But if you're like, whatever happens, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Whatever happens, but I'm going to do it. So if you don't get scared of new beginnings, let me tell you, you can achieve anything you want in life. You can achieve basically anything you want in life if you don't fear new beginnings. Most of the people fear that. As I told you initially, me, when I started working with my first job, I had to rent. It was going to be my first time to rent out a house. It was really very scary. I was like, what if I fail to pay the rent? What if someday I fail to get what to eat? What if, I had the very many what ifs. What if it doesn't work out? So when I went, of course, I left school with my suitcase and a small mattress. I think it was like 3 inches. Then I went to Bukoto. By then there was a place called Engine petrol station. So I went. I had my suitcase plus my mattress, and I stood there. When they had paid me my first salary, I had like 250 with me. So I stood there and I'm like, now I want a house. I saw a guy standing there. I was like, I want to get any house, which is very cheap to start. I want to rent. He's like, do you have everything with you? I'm like, yeah, I have everything with me. Remember, I had just left school, and now I'm going to rent to start a new life because I had gotten a job. So the guy is like, no worries, there is a house there. So when I went, there was a big house, then there was a small house, which could be, I think the Askaris have to be sleeping there. So they gave it to me, I think it was at 70,000. Yeah, but that house, I can never forget that house. It was leaking. Whenever it rains, it could leak up, and again, water could enter inside. Yeah. But I stayed there. So that was my first time to start something new with my life. It was really very scary. When I reached there, I first asked where the restaurants are. They told me where the restaurant. The good thing, the guy I was renting from had a restaurant again in front. So I was like, how much would it be for me to pay for a month? So I paid for a month again, even for food, because I was having this doubt in me. What if I fail to get food? But I went, I paid, and I started life. I started life just like that. So again, the new start again I went through when everything had failed, when they closed the place where I was working. Again, I had to start afresh. So right now, I got used to starting afresh. Coming this side, to keep the long story short, where I stay, it is kind of far. So I noticed I'm going to be very far away from town. I noticed I'm going to be alone, and this time around with my son. So you're thinking of medication, you're thinking of, house stuff you're supposed to get. I was thinking about a lot of things, but now I had gotten used to having a new start. And when I came here, I was like, good to go. Let's start over. So again, right now, what I'm doing, again, I'm starting over. So if you don't get scared, or if you don't worry about starting afresh or starting something new, let me tell you, nothing can fail in life. As long as you're like me, I can always start again. Just like most of the girls I told you initially, that most of the girls are in relationship that are very abusive. But because they fear those new beginnings, yeah, they fear those new beginnings. They're like, if I leave this guy, where am I going to start from? You get, so they stay in this abusive relationship because they don't know where they're going to start from. So never, ever, ever get scared of fresh starts. If you don't get scared of fresh starts, let me tell you, you can achieve anything you want in life. I'm telling you, you can do anything. Right now, me, anything that happens to me, I'm willing to start afresh. I'm willing to start afresh. No matter what happens to me, I'm willing to start afresh. Why? Because now I'm used. You could find people, they are like, we got you a job, but the job is in Gulu. And it's like, Gulu. Now you start getting the negativity. You're like, the language, you start thinking about lots of them. You're like, my friends, how will I be? You think about a lot. You're like, now I'm going to live up. But if you are fearless to new beginnings and new starts, yeah, let me tell you something. There is nothing in life that can always intimidate you if you're willing to start afresh. If you're willing to start afresh, let me tell you, nothing can really scare you. That's the topic we are talking about. Let me get some more. Yeah, I wanted to get some more. Of course, we are still here. So, if you're not scared of new beginnings, I'm telling you, there is nothing in life that can fail. You cannot even fail in life. Me, that friend of mine that I keep talking about, when he went to Dubai, and he told me, Anderson, I went to Dubai, but I didn't know anyone. I started. He sat on a plane. He sat next to an old lady. I think it was like she was like in her 60s, and he told her his story, and he was like, what? I'm flying to Dubai. I don't have anyone there. I don't know anyone there, but I have a little bit of money with me. He said his story, and you know what happened? The lady was like, no, it's okay. You can come stay at my place for a couple of months, and when you sort yourself, then you can move out. He went. Imagine, he got the person who saved him on the plane. And now, when he told me the story, I was like, wow, I cannot do that. But he told me that like 15 years ago. He's been abroad for quite a long period of time. So I was like, I can never do that. I can never, ever do that. Because new beginnings are always very scary. I was like, how can I go to a country when I don't know anyone there? And and to make matters worse, he had little money with him. I think he had like $500 only. And you're going to a new place. It is very scary. But that guy, and when he told me that story, I was like, man, let me tell you something. You can never, ever, ever go broke in life. Why? Because new beginnings don't scare him. New beginnings don't scare him. And that's how he did it again, to leave and go again to Australia. So later on, of course, in life, because he told me that story like 15 years ago, so now I also learned, and I'm like, you know what? I can also start afresh at any time. So even when something bad happens, if it's a bad relationship, you can always move away and start again. If it is business and it has not worked out perfectly, you can still leave and start over and over. And for the people who don't quit, yeah, people who are like, even if anything happens, I'm willing to start again. I'm willing to start over. Such kind of people, you cannot fail in life. I'm telling you the truth. You can never, ever fail in life. So today I felt like, because as I told you, I always don't want to go beyond 12, beyond midnight. So, because I will tell you why. Yeah, because each time we go into another day, that means this video will be considered in another day, which I always don't want. So, guys, train yourself, be there, think about it, and be like, you know what? Start, whenever you start by, when you train yourself, yeah, let me say, they call it what? There's a manifestation, yeah? If you start thinking about something, you're like, if I get a car, I will be parking it there. So you start doing everything towards getting that car. So when you start training yourself, like, I can always start afresh. I can always start over. Before you know it, now it is part of you. So whenever something bad happens, truth is you will be able to start afresh. Why? Because you've trained yourself mentally that, you know what, I can always start over. Me, I can always, like today, getting this puppy that we are having, it was very scary, because I don't ride on the main road. Yeah, I don't ride. I only ride in the village. So today was supposed to be my first day to ride, and I was riding with Tyler, my son. It was really, really very scary. It was very, very scary, but I was like, we are going to do it. So I moved. Do you imagine like moving from, let's say, from Entebbe, and you're going up to where? And you're going up to town. It is very scary if you've never, just like driving. If you're going to drive for the first time, it is always very scary. Me, the first time again I drove, it was very scary. But now this time it was on a bike, and I'm with my son Tyler. And you know how people really drive cars in Uganda. People really drive very, very badly. But I was like, I'm going to do it. So we went, yeah, we reached properly. Again, we came back and we reached safely. So guys, just train yourself. Train yourself. This video is not going to be very long, but train yourself to be willing to start afresh, to start over. Most of the people are in position where they are, or they are not developing because they fear new starts. They fear new beginnings. Like when people say, being employed, if you are, being employed, you can never get rich when you're employed. But if you're self-employed, it is very easy, to get wealth. And most of the people will find it very scary, leaving their jobs, yeah? Leaving your job because you are sure. You see, this is my puppy. He's here. You see, yeah. He's the one, of course, we had gone to pick. So the first time to ride the bike the longest distance was because we were going to pick him. And of course, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy. So we rode and we went and we came back and we took the longest route. The route we took to this side was the longest and very, very dusty. But when we did it, I was like, I think I'm going to train myself more to start afresh. Most of the people fear to start afresh because when they tell you leave the job, because with a job you're very sure, after a month they are going to give you your money, you're going to get salary. But now someone is telling you leave your job and then go start, self-employment. You're like, but what if I fail? Because the negative thoughts always come through. What if? What if? So that what if it gets out of view, because that's why most of the girls who are willing to start afresh, they can never be in a relationship whereby, it is really toxic. They keep telling you, me, when things don't work out, I will leave. I will leave. So being able to move on is very important. So because now it is 11:54, we're going to leave 6 minutes. That's what I felt like saying, because I felt like I couldn't sleep minus, doing anything, minus doing a live, or you see him there. He's chilling. He's chilling. You see him? Yeah, now he's supposed to get used. This is going to also be his first night. So right now, he's also a little bit scared because it is a new place. He has sisters and brothers, but of course, we've left all of them. So now he's going to be, he's going to be sleeping here for the first time. So you can imagine, even with him, I know it is scary, but of course he will have to get used. He will have to get used. We named him CC. So tomorrow you'll be seeing more of him. We'll be showering him. We'll try to trim him because the hairs are also covering the eyes. Yeah, you see. So we'll be cleaning him up tomorrow. So it is also his first time. So I know he's also scared. Yeah. First time doing something, it is always very tricky. You see him there. You see? With his one eye, yeah? So guys, what I wanted to tell you is don't get scared, Be willing to start afresh. Be willing to start afresh. And when you're willing to start afresh, I'm telling you there is nothing impossible. And if someone else can do it, you can as well do it. Okay, I want to say thank you very much for the people who have been watching. Now it is 11:56. As I told you, we don't have to go through the next hour. This is the computer you're seeing here. This is where I monitor. Yeah, I monitor what is going on to see if the sound is good and if everything is clear. So this is where I watch everything. So until when we catch up, I want to say good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And of course, for the people who watch the videos when they are done, I want to say thank you very much and big up. We got a new family member. You see him? He has just joined us. But now I don't want him to get so scared. So that's why today I think he's going to sleep inside here. So tomorrow he will have to get used with the other brothers and sisters he's having. So until then, guys, I think I want to say good night. Now it is 11:57. It was nice, of course, catching up and coming to you. Let me put back my camera. Yeah, I put it there. So now we are going to be calling it a wrap. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's been nice. The entire day was really very busy. I'm feeling a little bit tired. So until when we catch up, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. If you love the video, by the way, you can go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button that each time we come through, you're among the first people to be watching. We created this channel after 7 years when I wasn't in the camera. I decided, like, 2026, I'll be coming through and I want to create a community of people who can support each other. That's why I put up this number here. Yeah, that's why I put my WhatsApp number there so that we can always keep in touch. Today, I got a communication from some of the people who follow, and I want to say thank you very much. Someone WhatsApped me and we had some chat. So